Welcome to Trans Fabulous. My name is Sasha Sadek. My pronoun is she because I will never be her. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional owners of this land. I pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I also like to extend my respect to our trans elders past and present. Today's episode, we have the legendary Millie Minogue, the trans fabulous Millie Minogue. Hello, Millie.
Hi, darling. How are you?
I'm good. Let me introduce you who Millie Minogue is. Millie Minogue has been a beloved figure in the entertainment industry for nearly 38 years. She began her career touring with Melbourne Les Girls, then spent 4 years traveling around Australia with Carlotta and her re-owned troupe. Over the decades, Millie has worked intensively across the club scene, from working the doors to hosting performing on stage. In gay clubs, she was constantly featured in production or as a special guest artist. Her impact has even caught the attention of pop royalty Kylie Minogue, personally invited Millie to be featured in her coffee table book. Throughout the 1990s, Millie appeared on numerous television talk shows and guest starred in the TV series Stingers as a cabaret singer. She has also featured in various music videos and made cameo in film Seriously Red, starring alongside Danny Minogue, where Millie portrayed a Kylie Minogue impersonator opposite Danny's portrayal of herself, dubbed the Minogue Sisters. So 7 years, Millie worked at Heat Nightclub at Crown Casino Melbourne, performing on Sundays alongside the iconic Molly Meldrum. Her presence in elite social circles earned her appearance in various magazines and newspapers. Thanks to Molly, she had the opportunity to meet countless international celebrities. Millie continued to tour Australia and with Kylie Minogue to this day and was featured in the BBC London documentary about Kylie, which include her contribution and legacy. In 2025, Qtopia Sydney invited Millie to showcase her iconic costumes. She has also been part of numerous fashion parades and Mardi Gras float and shown no signs of slowing down. Hi, Millie.
Hi.
Wow.
That's like full on. That's
Yeah.
Like, when you hear it like that, it's so like impacting.
It's
like,
amazing.
Yes,
This
yes.
is why you are trans fabulous, Millie,
Yes.
because I've been a big fan of you since I came here in early 2000s. At first, I thought it was Kylie Minogue.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Mom.
everybody's like, no, that's Millie Minogue. I said, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Oh, she's the impersonator of Kylie Minogue. Since then, I've been a big fan and went to all your shows in around Melbourne. You start off with in the entertainment industry, right?
Yes.
And you began your journey with Melbourne Les Girls and then toured with Carlotta's troupe for 4 years.
Yes.
What do you remember most vividly about those early touring days?
Well, for starters, I was a baby. I was literally a baby. I was I was like 21, I think, when I first. Well, I was 21 when I started, and I was just, going out to clubs and all that sort of stuff. And Deborah Legay, I remember there was a place called called Monkey. It was at the
Yes.
Palace.
Yeah.
At the back, and that was a regular night spot place there. And she came up to me and said, "Would you like to be in a show?" And I went, "Well, yeah." She said, "Oh," and I said, "Well, I know nothing about being, like that sort of style show. You know what I mean? Like." And she said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll put you under my wing. I'll teach you all the tricks of the trade. It's a good start. We all have to start somewhere." So I said, well, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I was with the fabulous Sherila Moore, Cherry
yes.
Ripe, Carlotta Winters, Deborah. And she said, it's going to be a bit tough. The girls are going to give you hell because you're such a baby, and it's like they're going to be bitter going on, And they all call me Budgie because they used to call Carly Budgie. She taught me how, she said, your eye makeup is too, like you're going to the shopping centre. Let me do it for you, and I'll show you how to do it, the tricks and the blush. And she taught me the eyes have to be red from the back of the room, so they have to be that big and black.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I picked it up just like that.
Yeah.
I was just starting the hormones as well, so I was like a little fatty boom boom. I mean, when you're this short, you can't be that wide. You know what I mean?
I know, the hormones do that to our body.
Yes, when you first start.
Correct.
But then they settle in, your body sort of shapes into the shape and all that. But and then we toured, and then I got the knack of it. And she's like, I think I did that for. We went to Canberra, we went to Adelaide, we toured regional parts of each state. Mm-hmm. I think it was like nearly 2 years of that. And then the show collapsed because the promoter that we had, he did a runner on us. I think we were in South Australia, I think at the time.
Left you stranded in South Australia?
Yeah, and the show collapsed and all that stuff because you just ran off and took everything. And then I got back to Melbourne. Deborah said, Carlotta's on the phone. She wants to have lunch with you. Mm-hmm. I went, okay, what's this about? So I met her at in South Yarra, and she said, I'm putting a show together. And I went, oh, God, my luck's running like smoothly here. She said, I'm putting a show together. It's going to be called Carlotta and Her Beautiful Boys. Mm-hmm. It'll be touring around Australia. Would you like to join her? I'd like to get you and Jackie Roberts from Melbourne, because I've been, she's been studying us time to time, and so you'll be perfect for what I want. Yeah. We had Malika Lamb, we had Penny D. Yes. And I said, yeah, okay, let's do it. Yeah. Well, that was a real eye opener. I learnt, we did it for 4 years. Mm-hmm. We did a show, we did a town every night. And we had Mondays off. Yes. We'd fly to each state. Wow. Then we got into Argos, and we travelled each state right to the back of it, around and around. So we virtually did every town. So that would take a year to do that whole circuit. Only Monday nights off, and the rest of the nights we did a 2.5-hour show. We'd pack it all up. Next morning, get on the Tarago, travel sort of an hour or two to the next town, unpack it, do a quick rehearsal, then boom, lights on. And then at the end of the year, we'd have Christmas off. Then the start of January, we rehearsed for 2 weeks in Sydney. Polly Petrie, famous Polly Petrie in Sydney, was a choreographer. Yeah. We rehearsed a new show. So we did that show for another year. And so we did basically 4 different shows. So each year
Different
was a
events,
fresh one, but we did the same circuit.
Do you start off with the show as Millie Minogue?
I was, chorus, chorus cutie. We all were chorus cuties. And then our spot numbers were determined on what our skills were. Jackie Monnier was in it as well from Sydney, but she was a fabulous trapeze artist. Yeah. And she used to juggle fire and all this stuff. So that was her forte. Yeah, yeah. Carlotta said, you need to do a Kylie number, because that'll we'll put a fresh touch to it, like everyone knows Kylie, and it's a bit of a fresh young touch to it. And Malika Lamb did Tina Turner. My second spot in the second show, so what will you do? And I said, well, she said, it has to be distinctive. It can't be just like another number. You know what I mean? And I said, well, I could do, say, Liza Minnelli. Because when you're doing these shows, you've got to cater for the sort of the mums and dads, local folk. Yeah. It's not just all about the gays.
Yeah, the country folks.
Yeah. So you've got to do stuff that they know, stuff that they love.
Agree.
Stuff that they pick on. Yeah. They can pick up on. So I did Liza Minnelli, New York, in the famous red swing coat and dress and all that stuff. The show was a massive hit. So because of her, we were in, New Idea, Women's Day. We were on Burke's Backyard. We had 60 Minutes travel with us 1 year. That was when Priscilla, Queen of the Desert movie came out. Yeah. So we were already on the road for 2 years doing that. Yeah. So they stuck with us for probably 2 months. Okay. And they filmed us backstage. They filmed us on the road. Yeah. And so they did a story on 60 Minutes about us. And we did the midday show of Carrie Ann. We appeared on there a few times, and so it was a great stepping board. So as she said, this show will end eventually, but you girls have been given a fabulous platform to go out and branch out on your own, because you've sort of got a name for yourselves already. Because people say, oh, I remember her from Carlotta and Her Beautiful Boys show. Yeah. So she said, use it wisely and do something about it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So that's how basically this part of my life started.
You also work across so many areas of the club scene, from the door to the stage. How those different roles shape your understanding of nightlife culture and community?
I got my first door job when I was probably, I think it was about 21. George Segoulis, who owned Chasers and owned Love Machine as well.
Yes.
My flatmate at the time and my dear friend Chrissy, who I lived with and all that for years, we would go out together everywhere, and we had the same taste. We had the same, everything. We used to go to Chasers because we lived on Punt Road at the time.
Yeah.
So we used to go to Chasers on a Sunday night. Yeah, George noticed us because back then trans wasn't, there was none, it wasn't a thing. We would stand in a club and, they'll go, who are these two? And when you have to tell them, because they try to pick you up, so to speak.
Exactly.
You have to tell them who you are.
Yeah.
And they go, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, well, you have to go.
Because there was no awareness at that time too, yeah.
No.
And a lot of us were very passable too.
Yeah.
So boys are confused.
Chris and I was so implanted into the straight nightclub scene and all that.
Yeah.
So George sort of saw me and went, oh, I like this look at this one. And it's sort of like got a bit of get up and go to her.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, you're going to be on the door.
Yeah.
On the Sunday. And I went, what? He said, you're going to be because in those days, they were called door bitches for a reason.
Yes.
And all you did have to do was look glamorous.
Yeah.
And have a clipboard.
Yes.
And be a bitch.
Yes. I love it.
Perfect.
I love it.
Not like today where you have to do your security course and, you've got to sort of like hope you don't get stabbed or something. But
I kind of like that era because New York still have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand why.
I love it too.
I know. I love it.
So every night, every Sunday night, I would get into my like evening gowns, like full glamour, and just stand there. And everyone used to go, I said, well, that's what I'm supposed to be. And I said, you're not dressed appropriately. So, next time you come in here, come dressed appropriately.
Okay, so Kylie Minogue invited you to be part of her coffee table book. Yes. Wow. What was that moment like, and what was your connection with Kylie meant to you over the years?
At the time, because she was like just in London and all this stuff, it was just a unique thing. So people were like, oh, there's a Kylie Minogue impersonator.
Yeah.
It's like, there's always an impersonator of someone, but Kylie's a very hard one to impersonate. You know what I mean? Like, I'm lucky I'm blessed with the size.
When I first met you, I thought you were Kylie.
Yeah. So back in the 90s, there was a big boom for me. You know what I mean? I was in like newspapers for myself, on my own. I'd have, I was in the paparazzi all the time, all the stuff, the newspapers and all that. People would sort of like, on the radio, sort of say, oh, Kylie Minogue's in town. It's like, no, it's not her. Yeah. So I was living on Punt Road at the time, and there was no mobile phones back then, so it was landline, so that would ring. This gentleman said, oh, hi, Millie, it's Terry Blamey, and I didn't really know who Kylie's manager was at the time, so I went, Terry Blamey. We'd like you to be in, Kylie's putting together a coffee table book. We'd like you to appear in it. She's doing a special page for you. Yeah. And she'd like you to bring out all your outfits, and at the time, I didn't have many outfits, just starting. And I went, oh, no, sorry, and I hung up. So he rang me back again. I said, listen, I don't know which friend of mine is doing this, but I'm not falling for this radio prank stuff because I'm not going to fall for it. Yes. You're not going to make a fool out of me. Yeah. I'm sure this is going live to air on Fox FM or something, but you're not going to make a fool of me. So I hung up. And then I rang back again. Yeah. He rang, and I hung up again. Yeah. Well, Molly rang me and he said, Millie, you keep hanging up on Terry Blamey. I said, yes, who is it? Said, Millie, it's Kylie's manager. I went, oh, okay. Now, he's going to call back in a minute. So do answer the call and do accept what he wants you to do. I went, okay. So I said yes to it. And so it was on the Monday afternoon, just off High Street. There was a photographic studio. Yes. Because I didn't have, they wanted 9 outfits. Yeah. I only had about 6 at the time, 5. And they said, well, can you rake some of your girlfriends in to do it? And as long as they've got something similar, they don't have to spend money on it, as long as they've got something similar that Kylie possibly would wear or does wear, but similar. So I got Miss Candy in. Oh, yes. I got Miss Rhonda drag queen Rhonda.
Yeah.
We've got Jackie Roberts in.
Yes.
We've got Tabitha in.
Uh-huh.
So we filled up the page,
Yes.
basically. And then the book came out, and at the time, I got this package at my doorstep, and it was from London. I went, oh, what's this? And Carly sent me a card saying, thank you, Millie. And she sent me a little teddy bear and all that stuff, saying a thank you gift. And so that's another one for the history books.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you still have that coffee book?
Yes, I still have that copy. You can't get it anymore.
Yeah, I know.
The copies that you can buy are very expensive. Because they're like become quite treasures.
You must be starstruck when you actually find out that was Kylie Minogue manager, yeah?
Wow. It's like, and I basically hadn't been doing it for that long.
Yeah.
But, sort of like the word about town, it was sort of like, who's this Kylie Minogue impersonator? And is there such a thing? And can there be such a thing? And it's like, yeah, there is. Even the hype in London was building. And there was a game show called Don't Forget Your Toothbrush. And it was... Kylie was on that show. She was like and they were doing a Kylie sort of theme question with a fan. Yeah. And it was one of the questions was, who was well, they called me a drag queen, but it doesn't matter. But who's a drag queen in Australia? And she went, Millie Minogue.
It's so different because the drag here, the illusion of being feminine, beautiful. In Singapore, all the drag queens has to look like a clown, which I don't understand why.
No.
Yeah. So the different here, the performances is like MTV. Yeah. Like the production and everything. That's why this young kid came here and it was like, I'm in awe. When I saw you, my God, I thought that was Kylie Minogue. Yeah. Because the production all looks exactly like Kylie Minogue.
One night at Three Faces, I think that Kylie had been in London for about a year, and she came home. And she was good friends with Peter Alexander at the time. Well, still is, but they came in together, and I had no idea. It was a Thursday night, so the stage was had the runway here. I was on that corner, and Kerry Legore came to her talk spot from the Lipsticks show, and she said, we have a incredible celebrity in the room, and she's just here, and she was on the other side of the stage. Would you put your hands together for Kylie Minogue? I went, what? I was shivering. I was shivering oh my God, she's in the room. This is too much. Yeah. And then Kerry Legore says, you've got your twin sister in the room tonight as well. This is really out of the blue because they didn't have any idea. The management of Three Faces, no one had an idea. She just popped in. The week before that, she heard about this show that we did. It was Miss Candy, Doreen Manganini, Tabitha, myself, and Loco Mink. We did this special themed Kylie show. I did Shocked in the Pink Feathers. Candy did the Noughts and Crosses dresses. So we put together this show. And she heard about it. And so when she came home, she said, I have to see this show. And she thought it was on that night. That's why she came in. So the next week, we said it's on next week. Yeah. Well, she came back in next week. She stood up at the balcony and watched it. Yeah. And she raved about it. She said, Millie, I loved your outfit. That's my favourite outfit of all time. And the other one, she said, Miss Candy, you were absolutely... Because Candy put a comedy... Yeah. She put a comedy swing on it, so to speak, in the Noughts and Crosses dresses. And she said those two stood out big time, and I loved it.
That was nice.
And they got into all the papers. And that night is when all the newspapers were at the front. We had to lock all the doors at Three Faces because the paparazzi were at the front. She couldn't get out the back. She couldn't get at the front. Yeah. We had to lock everyone in. Yeah. And we thought, is it time to leave yet? So she snuck out the back.
Throughout the 1990s, you were a familiar face on television and even appeared in Stingers as a cabaret singer. What was it like stepping into mainstream media representation during that era?
Again, with the trans fascination and also with the Kylie Minogue impersonator on top, I appeared on lots of talk shows to talk about, for one, being a trans woman, and also the aspect of impersonating Kylie. So I appeared on Dr. Feelgood. I was on lots of talk shows at the time. Yeah. And yeah, they were fascinated.
Of course.
Absolutely fascinated.
Yeah.
And then the Channel 9 rang me one day and they said, oh, you're going to be, we'd like you to perform on Stingers, which is a crime show, a series, and you'll be playing a cabaret singer in a bar when there's this cartel sort of drug war going on, drug deal going on with Peter Phelps and I forget who the other actor's name was. So and it wasn't a Kylie Minogue song either. I'm sitting on a bar and it was funny because the actors were getting the lines wrong. So they said, cut.
Yeah.
So we had to do it all again.
Okay.
But then they said, you have to remember what you did.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yes.
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 And I went, oh, okay. And so we did that scene probably about 15 times.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And I thought I was the one that was going to stuff it up.
Yeah.
And make them have to do it 15 times.
Yeah.
But it was actually the actors' fault. They actually were doing it. It's like, Millie, we have to do it again. Rewind. I went, oh, okay.
You're natural. With your generation being trans, your generation do not really come out as trans, you just live your life as a woman.
Yeah.
And is it hard for you to actually being on TV, being in the media all the time, and to expose your identity?
I really have a gripe with the newspaper reporters and journalists and all that. I really detest being called a drag queen.
Yeah.
I absolutely detest it. And I always say to them, please don't do it. And they do it. And it's like, I don't want to be called that. I'm not a drag queen.
You're a showgirl.
I'm a showgirl. And they go, well, what do we call you?
Yeah.
And I go, well, just call me a showgirl because that's all I am.
Yeah.
I am a showgirl. That's it.
Definitely.
And they said, well, why don't you like to be called a drag? I said, because I'm trans.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what's the difference? And I said, well, I've got, I live as a woman.
As a woman.
I live as a woman, and I do burlesque numbers with pasties and a G-string and feathers and the boobs and all that sort of stuff. And that's a showgirl.
When people say trans women do drag, they are drag queens. They are not.
No.
Yeah, they are showgirls because they're trans. They live as a woman. They don't impersonate being a woman. They are a woman. They impersonate to be someone else, like a celebrity.
Well, it's funny, like in today's world, I go out. So, I'm not like this all the time. So, when I go out, I'm just like a normal sort of woman.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, oh, my God, you're not in drag tonight.
Yeah.
Are you dressed as a boy? Or I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like, because I don't have it all on.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to, for starters. But you're not understanding that I live as a woman.
Yeah.
And I don't, sort of just put makeup on and wear men's suits throughout the daytime.
You spent 7 years performing at Heat Nightclub at Crown Casino. I remember this because I've been there with Molly Meldrum. What were some of your most memorable moments working alongside such an industry legend?
Well, I became good friends with Molly years ago. He took me to my first Melbourne Cup. I used to go to the Melbourne Cup with him all the time.
Yeah.
But I actually met him at the Mega Bar one Monday morning. This recovery party sort of doof doof club and all that. King Street.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and he was sitting there and he looked at me and was, looking at me and he was a bit sort of drunk and I thought, oh, maybe he's like having a bit of a bop along to the music.
Yeah.
And he called me over and he said, what's your name? And I said, oh, it's Millie. And he goes, oh, I'd heard of you.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, yes. And he said, my name's Ian Molly Meldrum. I went, okay. So we were chatting and all that stuff. He said, well, what are you doing tomorrow? And I went, nothing. He said, be at my house at 9 o'clock in the morning. I went, what for? He said, you're coming to the Melbourne Cup. You're going to be my date for the birdcage. And I went, oh my God, really? Yeah, okay, sure. And I got home, I said to Chrissy, I went, what do I wear?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be in the birdcage. I'm going to be Molly Meldrum's date. I just can't look like. So I rang a friend at the time who was a big fashion designer, Christopher Graff, and he lent me an outfit. And so, but we became absolute great friends.
Yeah.
Heat opened. I actually finished Carlotta show. I come back to Melbourne. And everyone didn't know where I disappeared to. I'm thinking, well, I've all been over the TV all the time and all this stuff. And so getting back into work was a bit hard. So he said, why don't you be my assistant on a Sunday night? You'll do a show, 3 numbers on the bar throughout the night and be my assistant and all this stuff. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous. It's done. But the highlight of that was just to have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And they used to have the Logies after party there, so that was that was always amazing.
Yeah.
I was always in charge of looking after all the guests and all that sort of stuff. So we filmed some of that BBC special when they came over to, because Molly said, "Oh, got great news for you. The BBC want you to join in on this documentary about Kylie."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yes, I'm going to London." He said, "No, they're coming here." I went, "Oh my God." Okay, that's all right. And he said, "But you will they're coming into Heat on Sunday night. You're going to perform on the bar. So they will be filming, and they're going to interview you beside the pool at home here beforehand." I went, "Okay, that's fine." So that's all how that sort of. So it was the opportunity.
That's nice.
Like, it was absolutely eye-opening and just incredible. The time, like 7 years, that went to, every, like, Tina Arena's record launch, and I went to so many parties, and I went to so many concerts backstage, Kylie's concerts backstage, everyone's concerts, Janet Jackson, Robbie Williams, and all that stuff, and, like, just the parties and all that.
With the Qtopia Sydney, they invited you to showcase your iconic costume. What are the significance of the costume hold for you in terms of storytelling, identity, and legacy?
Qtopia in Sydney, which is a gay exhibition centre just off Oxford Street. It's the old police station. And when you go in there, they have all these, they use all the old cells as exhibit rooms. So they approached me and they said, "Millie, we'd like to do a Kylie exhibition." And they said, "But we don't want to make it about her. We want to make it about you."
Oh.
I went, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine." I always like that.
Yes.
I like it when it's always about me. You know what I mean? And they said, "We want to fly up, or we'll come down. We want to get all your costumes. And we want to exhibit them because they're so, like, exactly the same. And we'd like to do an exhibit basically on you. It's you. But, really it's Kylie." So yes, we put the costumes together, went to Sydney, we launched it. Everyone, sort of went through the exhibition, and you could get up close to the costumes. I had a lot of feedback saying the costumes were incredible. Sort of everyone was saying that they just look like the real thing. And that's good, thanks to Adrian Wise, who is
nice.
He's my costume maker. We spend hours on them. We spend a lot of money on them because I think if you're going to do it, you have to do it right.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And that's why I think I have such longevity, because I spend so much attention to it. And basically it's like the real thing. The costume is, and
it is.
Everything else.
It is the real thing. What keeps your fire burning after nearly 38 years in the industry, and what's next for Millie Minogue?
I love doing it. A lot of people sort of say, "Oh, you get given everything. You got, you have so much luck. You've got good friends like Molly Meldrum." And I said, "Well, they don't give me anything. I have to actually
work hard.
I have to work hard, prove myself, like everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't get given things like that.
It's true.
The opportunity, yes, but you can stuff up that opportunity and never to be asked again.
I wish the show was a lot longer, because you have a lot of story to tell, and you're one of the living legend of the Les Girls. And thank you so much for being
here.
Thank you
for having me, darling. Thank you.
So thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next episode.